and in the middle of that, forged in the middle of that, the heat of that battle, forged a strong friendship. And Robin's going to talk about some of the other battles, as well as that one, that Helen Kelly was involved in. Robin.
Mate. No one says mate like Helen, do they? Well, mate, we miss you. It's an honour and a privilege to be able to speak here at Helen's memorial service. I look at everyone out here, I look at all of you and who you all are, and it's just odd that she's not here, isn't it? It's just odd that she wasn't the first speaker, bossing us around and ragging us up. And listening to all those wonderful speeches, it's like, I think there must have been 10 Helen Kellys, all packed into one incredible woman. I love the Fijian story. I had a similar experience with her that really showed me the sort of woman she was, and it was during the Hobbit dispute, and we were up on the top floor of the CTU building, and it was the day that the crew were protesting, and everyone had gone home, and it had all quietened down, and Helen said, "What are you doing, mate?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, I'm hanging out." She went, "Let's go to the Matterhorn. That's where they'll all be." So we went, and we were there for hours, and we had a huge number of conversations, a huge number of arguments. She didn't want to go to start a fight. She just wanted to go and talk. And to me, that was at the heart of who she was as a human, as a negotiator, as a trade unionist. It was always about the talk first. I looked up trade union, an organisation whose membership consists of workers and union leaders united to protect and promote their common interests. Helen, you, mate, she was an extraordinary, exceptional woman, but at her heart and her soul, she was first a trade unionist. I, like many, many people here today, I'm mourning the loss of my mate, a mate I met first as a trade unionist. One of Helen's most prominent and talked about and loved attributes was her inclination to create personal relationships and deep friendships in the front line of her work. Representing and advocating for workers means getting into the heart of their lives. She herself said, you can't do this sort of work without getting to know people. She liked people. She made deep friendships the length and breadth of New Zealand, and many of us are here today. But there's a bigger picture, of course, too. Helen had in her bones the understanding that in order for communities to link together in each other's interests, people have to link hands as individuals. Helen was often the first holder of hands. I'm here to introduce a video of some of these individuals, but before I do, I just want to spend a moment recalling some of Helen's major campaigns. They've been referred to before, and achievements during her years as the head of the CTU. So there was the Ports of Auckland dispute. Employers were wanting to sack and contract out its loyal workforce, and a new collective agreement was negotiated. The meat workers were locked out for 86 days because they wanted to keep their collective agreement, which gave them continuous work from season to season. Fighting 0 hours contracts within the fast food industry. Then there was the Robert dispute. particularly gnarly and nasty affair, I would go through the whole thing again in a heartbeat because of the principles behind it and because of the friendship that came out of it. Helen advocated for New Zealand actors as she would for any other unfairly contracted member of the workforce, despite our inherent show pony sibilance. She worked doggedly with the farm workers on a broad campaign to improve working life for them. It was particularly difficult because they were predominantly a non-unionised workforce then, with many migrant workers. Her aim was to support individual workers through unfair treatment. I heard her speak with incredulity that the norm here to aspire to was a 50-hour working week, a 10-hour day, and just the minimum wage. Her adversaries were Federated Farmers and Dairy NZ, two huge old boys in New Zealand's industry, which leads naturally onto health and safety. Health and safety and the changes made in certain sectors of the workforce is one of Helen's major legacies, and one that I know she was passionate that the vigilant work continue. Her work with the grieving Pike River community, challenging the outrageous dismissal of the health and safety charges against Peter Whittle. Within the forestry sector, again, no union, no checks and balances for the workforce, no health and safety conditions, resulting in an unprecedented number of deaths. This was an emotional and dramatic 3-year campaign which brought about a comprehensive review of safety within the forestry industry. We have a short video clip here involving a number of the individuals deeply affected by the absence of the health and safety in the workforce. These are the people Helen linked arms with to bring about effective change.
Tom was born smiling. Tom was just a ray of sunshine. He was such a happy little boy, very intelligent, very caring, very compassionate. He was a prefect at school, he was head of house, he was rugby captain. I mean, he was 6'5". He was known as Tom Tank. The reason he was in New Zealand was because he wanted to see the All Blacks play. We thought Commonwealth country, ergo safe place. And he was offered some casual work on an orchard. And he took the bus down to Kati to work on the orchard, and he died on his first day.
Don't like pine forests anymore.
He really liked working in the forestry, the comradeship. He'd be gone by 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes he wouldn't get home till 6 o'clock at night. And quite often he'd do that 6 days a week. The owners put pressure on the contractor puts pressure on the workers. You've got to get so many trucks out a week.
He started falling a tree that was rotten. He moved to another tree to actually fall that tree on top of the rotten one. When he had his back turned to the tree, he just let go and came down.
This whole area is just sadness. As a father, you're supposed to protect your children. Joseph was killed on his very first day of work. These are builders, these are labourers and sparkies that you see fixing a deck on a house. You're talking about the bloke with the ute. These are not miners. They know nothing about methane, nothing about gases. They played Russian roulette with every person that went into that mine.
It might tipped into a hidden ditch and flipped into a shelter belt. Tom would not have understood the risks attached to a quad bike. It took them 6 years following a fatality for anybody to even visit or follow up. In this country, there would have been a prosecution. It's a sort of, oh, she'll be right attitude. You're 8 times more likely to die in the workplace in New Zealand than you are in the UK. How is that right? He should have come home with his camera and his stories, and actually he didn't. He came home in a coffin.
The report that's come out of the investigation into his death said that he's the architect of his own demise. What they're saying is that he killed himself.
I still cannot get my head around how somebody can die in an orchard.